Today I'm behind the wheel of a brand new 2021 Volvo XC40. Now the XC40 debuted back in 2019, so this is still in its first generation. However, Volvo hasn't just been sitting around waiting for the competition to catch up. Volvo has been adding more features each and every year. And for 2021, there are a few significant upgrades, and there are a lot more standard safety features and standard features overall. So let me get started. Let me first show you the outside and talk about some of these new features for 2021. Before I get started, I want to give a big thanks to Volvo Cars and Lyle, which made this video possible. So if you're in the market for a brand new or used Volvo, definitely check them out. Their website URL is in the description below. In my opinion, the XC40 definitely is one of the best looking subcompact SUVs out there. I love the way the design is, the short overhangs front and back, the large wheels, the floating roof, and just overall, it just flows and works really well. Moving up front, there are a few changes. Now the grille did not change, the large grille with the Volvo emblem. The Thor's daytime running lights, that didn't change, it's still very distinctive. However, those headlights are now full LED. They have automatic high beams and active bending. So when you're making a turn, the headlights will actually turn with you. That is all standard now across all trims. Also below, the LED fog lights, they are standard across all trims. Overall, I think the front end is a good mix between luxury and sportiness, and it has that Volvo vibe that you just can't miss. Now moving to the side, the only significant change for 2021 is the mirrors are now power folding and self-dimming, and they're included across all trims. Now besides that, nothing really else changed. However, that's not a bad thing. I've always liked the side profile. You do see some matte black cladding that's around the wheel fenders, on the bottom of the doors, but I think they add a little bit of ruggedness. And I love the large wheels. Standard on the Momentum, you get 18-inch wheels. On this one, optional 20-inch wheels. They look massive. I love the way they look. However, do they affect the ride quality? I'm gonna get to that once I start driving. On top, you have aluminum roof rails that's integrated. I love the way they look. And flowing to the back, you see a shark fin antenna and also very large spoiler back there. I didn't notice it before. I reviewed a couple XC40s before, but this time I'm noticing it. They're quite large. Of course, you have a large privacy glass back there. The L-shaped tail lights, very distinctive, right, on both sides. That's how you could tell this is a Volvo right away. And on the bottom, you do have a lot of black cladding covering the bumper. You could argue, you know, they look a little rugged, but in my opinion, if they were painted a little more, they will look even better. And you do have a silver molding that's right in the middle. That's it for the outside. Let's move to the inside. The trunk, you have a power lift gate, and inside the trunk, plenty of space. It's actually bigger than it looks from the outside. You do have a privacy cover on top. I wish it was one of the pull kinds rather than the hanging kind. But the bottom cover is really clever. So you can fold it one way and reveal hooks for grocery bags or whatever you want to hang. And you can also fold it back and reveal more hidden storage area underneath. So I like the way that's designed. And underneath the bottom cover, there is a spare tire. And then on both sides, you have a little bit of room to put whatever. And of course, you wanted more cargo room, you can fold down the second row. And what I like is the seats are completely flat. So you get a ton of cargo room with the second row folded down. Now, once you get the second row, everything is covered in leather. And that's actually one of the changes for 2021. And it's weird because in 2019, even the base trim of the XC40 received full leather. In 2020, they removed that. In 2021, they brought it back. So yes, everything in here is covered in leather. That's one of the changes for 2021. Another thing that was added is 2 USB ports. So underneath the vents, you see that there is heated seats. That's an optional feature in here. But next to it, you have 2 USB-C ports. That is new for 2021. And as for space, I'm 5'10". If you look at me, I have about 2 or 3 inches of leg room. Same with headroom. So it's actually more spacious than it looks. Now moving up front, you definitely have a very luxurious and modern look. I love this look. In fact, this look is across all of Volvo's SUVs and cars, and I think it's one of the best in the industry. Even looking at the door handles, you know, they're aluminum, they look good, they feel good, so this cabin is definitely top notch. Now moving to the steering wheel, it has the right thickness, covered in leather. However, this leather is a little bit slippery and scratchy to me. I don't know why that is. The overall design is okay, not the most stylish steering wheel, but gets the job done. Now moving to the gauge cluster, you have one large digital screen. It's a 12.3-inch screen. You have a digital speedometer and tachometer, and you get all the gauges. Now, the weird thing is when you bring up the menu, it's a small little menu, and you can see your trip, your media, phone, and navigation. I actually can't go to the phone navigation because I don't have those enabled right now, but I'm kind of surprised that the menu isn't in the middle and bigger. It's just like on the side. Now, moving to the infotainment screen, this by far, in my opinion, is the best of the best. The interface works super well. It's super bright, super responsive. The resolution is very high. You start out with like a home screen, and it shows you a few essential stuff like your radio station, your phone, if it's paired, updates. But there's also Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Those are standard. Wi-Fi is in here. And then if you go to the left side, this is all the vehicle functions. So any feature or optional feature that you have in the car, you can turn on or off. For example, engine start stop, your park assist, your active bending lights, your blind spot monitoring. Those are all in here. You can turn on or off, and it's just really easy to use. And if you scroll down from the top, this is just like a settings menu, just like your phone. Now, the climate control is also integrated. Now, some of you guys may be thinking, I don't like that, but it's really easy to use. And in the middle, this is where you control your fan, right? And you could go auto, your recirculation, all that is in there. On the side, you have two seats. You can click into it. That's how you can turn on your heated steering wheel or heated seats. And then you have temperature control, both sides. You could use your finger to just scroll up or down, or simply press up or down and close it afterwards. There's also a home button, by the way, in case you wanted to go back, you don't know where you are, just press the home button and it brings you back. Underneath, you do have some physical buttons and a volume knob, and there's also a drive mode. So later on, once I start driving, I'll let you guys know how it is, but there's comfort, dynamic, eco, and off-road. Not that I expect any of you guys will ever go off-roading with this, but you can select it. Moving below, you do have two USB ports, a 12V outlet, and wireless charging. Now you have somewhat of a new age shifter. If you want to go in reverse, you just press it up a couple times. You want to go into drive, press it down a couple times. The only thing you have to remember is the park, there's a button. You have to press that. You put the car in reverse, you get to see the rear camera. It is actually very, very high resolution, and you do see the cross lines. And there's a 360 view camera in here. So it's a little bit different. Most cars now show you both simultaneously. This one you have to press into it. However, when you press into the 360 view camera, you can see every side, front, side, and the rear. So that's really cool. And everything is really high res. The only thing is when you go into drive by default, it only shows the rear. It doesn't show you both. Top, you do have home link buttons, and you have a gigantic panoramic sunroof. This is not standard, this is optional. Now they call this laminated, and that's because you can see through the cover. It lets light in even when closed, but when you open it, there's so much light that comes in. I really like it. Next, let's talk about the powertrain. This one I'm driving has the T5 engine. There's two engines to choose from, a T4, T5. For the T5, you do get a 2-liter turbocharged engine, and it's pushing around 250 horsepower and around 260 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed automatic, and 0 to 60 is surprisingly quick. I've read around 6.3 seconds. That's pretty darn quick for a small SUV like this. So later on, once I start driving, I'm going to test out acceleration and let you guys know how it is. And with the T5, you do get standard all-wheel drive. If you wanted just front-wheel drive, you have to select the T4 engine. All right, I'm on the road, so let me tell you how this XC40 feels and drives. This is my third XC40 review. 2019, when I first started this channel, I reviewed a T4 XC40 with big wheels like this, 20-inch wheels. In 2020, I reviewed a T5 with the standard 18-inch wheels. So now, it's kind of a combination. This is a T5 engine with the 20-inch wheels. And unfortunately, just like in 2019, I feel like these large wheels is affecting ride quality a little bit. It's not bad when the road is smooth, obviously, but you know, where I'm driving, a lot of little imperfections and bumps and dips, and I definitely feel it, every single one. I know the one I drove before with the 18-inch wheels, they felt a lot more comfortable. So keep that in mind. If you want better looks, bigger wheels, which look absolutely stunning on this XC40, there is a trade-off. Now, something I didn't notice before that I'm noticing now, it's a little bit bothersome, is the center console area down here by your leg. It sticks out a little bit. So it's forcing my leg to move over slightly to the left. And because of that, my foot is closer to the brake pedal. So I feel like my foot is really, really close to the brake pedal. And I'm always afraid of braking while I'm accelerating. I don't know, I didn't feel that before, but I'm feeling it now. Now, what's nice about this driving position and also visibility is you don't really feel like you're in a subcompact SUV. This actually feels just as large as the XC60, although I know it isn't, but I think mostly because of the headroom, right? I mentioned about how the roof is not so cut down. A lot of manufacturers do that to give it a more sleek, sporty look. In this XC40, you still got plenty of headroom, and because of it, it doesn't feel so tight in here. It still feels spacious. So for me right now, I think I can see well past the hood. It's a nice big windshield. I think this visibility is great. Same thing with the side. The door panels aren't too high. The windows are nice and big. And even the blind spot, even the C-pillar isn't too bad. It does cut in a little bit because of the way it's shaped. There's like a sharp corner. However, it's not that bad. And one of the new things for 2021 is blind spot monitor. It is now included. Before, you had to pay extra or it was available on upper trims. Now, even the base Momentum gets it. And along with that, you get rear cross-traffic alert. So that's another feature that gets included absolutely free as a safety feature for 2021. And surprisingly, being a small SUV, the rear visibility is really good. The way Volvo designed it, the headrests are really to the side, and the rear tailgate window is huge. So rear visibility is actually astonishingly good for a subcompact SUV like this. Now, the driving position is also nice. It's somewhat elevated, obviously higher than a car. Ground clearance is around 8.4 inches. Overall, I do feel like there's somewhat of a commanding view. Not as high as the midsize SUV, but it's there. And the seats are comfortable. These are comfortable seats. They look fantastic, and I mentioned how they're leather now finally. I don't know why Volvo for last year decided to remove it as a standard feature. Now they put it back, but they feel good and they're holding me in. The bolstering is not too aggressive, but I like it. Now, I do like these seats better than the one in the R design. I have tested R designs before, and those seats are very, very aggressive to the point where I feel uncomfortable in them. And they actually cost more because they're in the R design trim. So just keep that in mind. I actually think the standard Momentum seats are very comfortable. Now, as for steering, there's a lot of play, so it's not very precise. You can see in the steering wheel here, that's a lot of play, and I don't really feel any input in the car yet. So there's a lot of play, and the weight
the weight is very soft. So between the two, it's just okay. It definitely could be better. So later on, I'm going to change the driving mode, drive it to dynamic, and see if it makes a difference in the steering. But I remember in the past, it didn't. But I'll let you know. Now, as for cabin noise level, it's acceptable. But again, I think due to these tires and these wheels, there's more noise than there should be. Wind noise is not bad. I don't hear much wind. The cars passing by, not so much either. Don't really hear them. The only thing I hear is road noise. I hear constant like road noise from these tires, and I feel like it's just because of these wheels. I do feel like if you went with the standard 18-inch wheels with better tires and more sidewall, they're not only more comfortable, but it's also a little bit more quiet in here. So unfortunately, these optional wheels, there's a big trade-off when you select them. Next, let me test out acceleration. First, I'm going to change this to dynamic mode, because I remember dynamic mode does actually make a big difference in this XC40. All right, so I'm in dynamic mode. So let me see how 0 to 60 is, or 20 to 60. All right, so that's about right. It felt lively, wasn't super quick, wasn't slow by any means, and the engine did make a lot of noise. One of the things is you don't hear exhaust at all. There's no exhaust, but you do hear the engine. It's not annoying, it's just loud. But one of the annoying things about being in dynamic mode is that the transmission holds the rev way too high, way too long. So if you're trying to drive in dynamic and day-to-day driving, you're gonna get annoyed by it. As for the brakes, they come on very, very strong. The brake pedal is a little stiff, and just with some pressure, this XC40 like stops almost on a dime. But you lose that like smoothness, I feel like, because it's stopping so quick. So you have to get used to that. I like brakes where it does stop fast, but it has that linear feel, that some give, and you don't really get much of that with the brakes in this XC40. This one does have the optional Harman Kardon sound system, and it does sound really good, but it doesn't really translate well with my microphone, so just want to point that out. And just kind of reflecting on the dash and this whole cabin, I love the way these vents look, right? They have that classic vibe to them. It kind of reminds me of the old 60s cars. And the door handles, they're made of aluminum. They look good. They feel good. There's a lot of touches in here that just makes you feel like you're driving something special. All right, so I have the engine auto start stop on. The engine is off right now. So let me see how it is once I start moving. Yeah, not the quickest startup. There is definitely a slight lag. Overall, I think this XC40 is still an outstanding subcompact luxury SUV. Volvo has done a splendid job, and they've been keeping up. They've been adding little things and tweaking here and there. And I think the changes for 2021 are pretty significant, especially with the base trims. And it makes it a lot more compelling buy than before. So next, let me talk about the pricing. Let me show you guys the trim levels and tell you how much this XC40 cost.
As for the trim levels, you have the base Momentum, which is what I'm driving today. Next, you have the R Design, which is more focused on looks and has sports seats. Finally, you have the Inscription, which is the top trim level. Strangely enough, Volvo's website does not have any official pricing listed for the 2021 models yet, so I'll go with the window sticker. Base price for this T5 all-wheel drive XC40 Momentum is $35,700. But most of the niceties in this XC40 is an optional package. This one I'm driving has the Climate Package, Advanced Package, Premium Package, and other optional features such as metallic paint, spoiler, laminated panoramic moonroof, 20-inch wheels, Harman Kardon sound system, and when you add everything else up, the total price is a tad under $46,000. Overall, I'm giving the brand new 2021 XC40 a score of 91. If you want to see how it ranks among its peers, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Thanks for watching, hit the like and subscribe to the channel for more reviews, news, and first looks.